Good afternoon. Welcome to EduSet Network. Friend, as you know, this week we have organized series of lecture on softer skills. In our lecture series on softer skills, today we will try to understand attitude, its management, different aspect of attitude, formation of attitude, how one can alter attitude, because altitude determine your altitude, means how high you can go in your life. That will be determined by your attitude. So it's a very important to know in detail how attitude function and what is the component of attitude. So today we'll try to understand in detail attitude and attitude managements. And for discussion on this very topic, we have in the studio eminent faculty Dr. Amarjeet Malhotra. She is professor at one of the leading management institute in Gurgaon and has academic orientation. She has authored 6 books and presented a number of papers, and also been invited by US government as an international scholar, and she taught in North Dakota State University for full term. So I think her knowledge and experience will help us to understand attitude and will give her insight into it. So on your behalf, I welcome her. Welcome you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very good afternoon to you all. Today we are going to talk about attitude, such an important topic, the topic which can make your life or break your life. So we all understand that this is something very important. So I really want a very sincere and dedicated effort from you all to understand the topic, the concept, and to imbibe it in your life, whatever you could carry from this talk. So to begin with, let's talk about the agenda. Would be I would be defining the concept of attitude. Then I will be talking about the nature of attitude, various component of attitude, formation of attitude, how do we form our attitude, then different types of attitude, functions of attitude, and the ways we can change our attitude. And after identifying the barriers which comes through while changing the attitude, and finally how can we safeguard against negative attitude. So this is going to be the agenda for 1 hour. To begin with, let's understand what attitude is actually all about. If you ever observe, why is it so that one particular person behaves in a very particular manner always whenever a similar situation occurs? So you can actually try to find out people around you, your family members, your friends, your teacher. Just just try to recall, is there anybody around you who always behave in a particular manner, in a persistent manner? So this is basically his or her attitude. So we can say that attitude is a persistent tendency to feel and behave in a particular way towards some object. Now this object could be a person, this object could be an event or any situation. So when we say that attitude is an evaluative statement or judgment concerning objects, people or event. So basically attitude is nothing but how do we actually evaluate different situation and how do we respond to that. So that is what your attitude is. In a very simple term, we may say attitude can be referred as a manner showing one's feeling or thoughts. How do we show our feelings? How do we show our thoughts in a particular situation? That is what is attitude. Now, in other way, we may say it is disposition of individuals' positive or negative feeling about some object. The object, as I said, could be an individual, could be any event or a situation. So taking it further, attitude has 3 different components in it. 3 different characteristics of attitudes are: number 1, it is persistent. It persists until or unless somebody actually works on it. It means something need to be done if you want to change this attitude. Otherwise, it remains persistence. You won't find any change if you don't work on it. So one thing is constancy, perpetuality is there, persistence is there. Second characteristics is this, that attitude can fall anywhere. It can fall anywhere from very positive to the negative. It can fall from favorable to unfavorable. So that is the second characteristics of attitude. The third thing is, it is always directed towards some object. What does it mean? It means when we are referring to attitude, we cannot talk about attitude in independent, in isolation. It is always some object, some event or some person involved with it. It means we are responding to the person or we are embarking of the person or situation or event. So some object is there. So that's why we say it is directed towards some object. So in all, we may say there are three things in it. One, persistency is there. Second, any range could be there. It could fall from favorable to unfavorable or positive to negative. And the third thing is, some object is there. So basically these are three characteristics of attitude. Now after this, I would like to talk about various components of attitude. To understand it deeply, let's understand various components in it. The first thing is, in attitude we have cognitive component. Cognitive component means this is the opinion or the belief is been formed based upon the available information. You will form your opinion about an event, about a person, but the basis of formation of the opinion or the belief is the information available. Let's take some example here. Say for example, you joined one office, one new company, and this is your first job, right? And somebody just shared with you during the lunch hour, Mr. XYZ is a failure in the business. Whenever he has been given targets, he could never succeed it, right? Then he shared X example, Y example, Z example, 3-4 examples he quoted in front of you on the first day during lunch hour. So he is trying to convey to you that this guy is not been successful while achieving the targets given to him. Now you on the day one, based upon the information which the person with whom you are having lunch has shared with you, you formed your belief, you formed your opinion about the person he was talking about. You may form opinion that that guy is not a successful guy or not a dependable guy, because he does not achieve his objectives or he doesn't achieve his goal or target or business targets. So what is happening? Can you realize what is happening here? Simply you have been fed by somebody has informed you about somebody, you may have got some facts. He may have quoted the sale target for him was 10 lakhs, he could deliver only 5 lakhs. The sale target was 8 lakhs, he could deliver only 4 lakhs. So you have been given facts. Based upon the facts, you made your opinion. So this particular aspect we call it as cognitive component. So the attitude where the beliefs becomes part of your attitude, but based upon the some factual information. This is the first content. Second thing is, your attitude may develop based upon the emotion. And this is the most important part. We call it as cognitive component. In the cognitive component, your desirable or undesirable aspect of attitude is observed, and this is based upon the emotional aspect. A very simple thing to correlate. Just I am quoting something very simple and which you may be easily correlating to. Say, few of you would be liking Kareena Kaif, another would be liking Aishwarya Rai, right? Third person may be liking some other heroine or actress. So what is happening? Based upon the liking or based upon that desirability, you develop an emotional attachment or emotional desirability for a person looking like Aishwarya, or other person may have developed a desirability or undesirability for a person who looks like Katrina Kaif or anybody else. So what is happening here? The emotional aspect is coming up. So we call it as cognitive component, where you desire something or you don't desire something, right? You may find a person is extremely intelligent, person is extremely loyal, honest and beautiful, but still you don't like him or her. Why? Because your belief about beauty is something different which you perceived from some other experience you may have or from your observation. So this is what we call it as cognitive component, which has more of emotional aspect. And whereas in the first one, in the first component, which aspect was important? I believe you remember that. That was the informative part. You have information, you have data, and you made your opinion. Here in the second part, you did not make your opinion as such, you make your desirability or undesirability. I don't want this environment to be worked with, to live in. I don't want that kind of wife or husband. I don't want a wife with boy cut. I don't want a husband who's bald, for example. What is happening here? In all the examples, the desirability or undesirability is happening because of emotions attached. So your attitude is becoming positive or negative, good or bad towards a person having a boy cut or is a bald person. So this is what is happening. The third component of attitude is affective component. So in the affective component, the behavioral part comes in. Here, if you observe, we tend to buy few things and we refuse to buy few things. Why? Because the affect of your attitude is playing a role here. You may find some girls, some boys are just, they can't hold themselves when they see something like shoes, like sandals or footwear or dresses. Why it is so? Because they have developed something as an affect, we call as affective component in their attitude and that is been shown or that has been exploiting in their buying behavior. So this is the third component which has behavioral aspect. So three different aspects, informative aspect, emotional aspect and behavioral aspects are components of attitude. Now after this, the next thing we would like to talk is formation of attitude. This is something very important and it is going to be important. Why? Because I will try to bring a situation where you could actually correlate that why you have a particular type of attitude. So that's why I am saying this is the very important thing to understand. So essentially attitude is outward manifestation of your values and belief. So whatever you feel, whatever the value or the beliefs you carry, you show it in your behavior, right? You show it in your feelings. So that's why we call it as outward manifestation of your values and your beliefs. Now the next question comes in, where from the values come or where from these beliefs come? Values and beliefs come from you over the time. They are formed over the time and from different resources. Different sources are there to make your values, to make your beliefs, which actually in turn affects your attitude. So values and beliefs, they are outcome of influences which you draw from the people you interact or the circumstances you live in. So when I am talking about circumstances, it could be your home, it could be your office, it could be the city or the nation even. It could be at the mass level. It need not to be only at home level or small level. So if I say so, the first important thing in the development of your beliefs or values is your personal experience. What kind of personal experience you may have in your childhood? What kind of personal beliefs you have in your adulthood? That will decide your attitude, right? So if you have a kind of negative experience or not, or may say so, not good experience with your parents, your attitude will be a little negative. You may show frustration all the time because your childhood has such a negative experience or bad experience. Then the second thing is not experience, a second thing is your association. It's not association with parents. The first thing I talked about, your association at home. What kind of association you have with your parents, your mother, your siblings. And then second, what kind of association you may have with your colleagues, with your friends, with your teachers, with your boss, people around you. So that will again affect your values and belief. If you are surrounded by somebody who is always lying, so you miss and you are seeing that he is not facing any problem in that. So you may develop a belief that if somebody lies, there is no harm in that. you may simply develop a belief in that, because you are seeing somebody around you who is doing that and not facing any problem. Or other way around, you may have been seeing somebody and you may have also seen that person has actually faced a lot of trouble or problem because of lying. So, you may simply change your belief about lying. So, it is what experience, which type of experience you are getting from whom, the people you are associated with. So, that is what will make your belief. Another thing or another important factors which actually make or change your beliefs or values are the economic environment even. It is not only the nature of your parents or your friends or your teachers, but it is also about your economic conditions. What either you belong to a financially sound family or to a middle class family or economically weaker family, that also changes your belief or the values. We have always observed, it is a common observation, that people who have a modest level of income are more honest, they are more exceptions are always there. So, I won't take it as a general rule, but on an average we will find people who are at a lower economic level or conditions, they are more honest. So, it all depends. So, your value for honesty is high, right? In case you are from influencing family, but they are into such manipulative business practices, you won't believe that that is wrong. You will simply start believing that it is nothing wrong, it is simply a business practice. Whereas in actual, if we compare it with some kind of yardstick of honesty or values, you will find it is not correct. So, basically your economic conditions also affect your beliefs and values. Not only this, if we talk about at the national level, at the country level, even that will decide the values and the beliefs you have. You know, there are many countries who have high premium for the honesty. I personally have visited US and I have seen people have high premium for honesty. They really value people who are honest and for hard work as well, right? So the other person who are observing that culture will develop a belief, will develop a value that hard work is important, honesty is important. So basically what I am trying to bring in is this, that your attitude is been built or develops over time, but what affects it is the values and the beliefs, and the values and beliefs are affected by different sources. So this is what is the crux of the matter. Now after this, once we understood that what is attitude, how is it been formed, the next thing is to talk about the type of attitude. Though this type of attitude which I am going to talk is very generic, I am not talking in specific to the organizational behavior concepts or different theories of OB, but I am talking in the context of general behavior and in general life. So there are two types of attitude. One, positive attitude, another is negative attitude. Now the positive attitude is when we have control on our behavior, we have control on our thinking, and we don't allow ourselves to get affected with the adverse conditions or failures or problems. So we are not allowing ourselves to be affected adversely if we have failure around, if we have problems around. What does it mean? It means life becomes easier if we minimize the effect of failure. So the important point here is this, one cannot assume, one cannot expect that one won't face any problem ever. Every person, every single person on this earth faces problem. Problem may be of different type. One may have problem in health, another may have problem in finances, another third may have problem in love life, fourth may have problem with parents, another may have problem with studies, right? So there could be endless problems. After accepting this fact, the problem will keep on coming throughout your life. At different stages of life, different kind of problems will occur. But the important is, how do you actually handle them? How will you handle them will depend upon your attitude. So there is a close interrelationship between your attitude and how you handle your life and the problems you face. So basically what I am trying to say is this: you can minimize the effect of problems which are going to come for sure if you have positive attitude. So the people with positive attitude will always actually face the problem with courage, we will be hopeful for the future and for good times, and for him success comes very quickly, because what happens, because of the problem and our attitude, if there is one problem, our attitude is negative, we will condemn that problem, we will behave unlogically, we will behave irrationally to the problem, and this will lead to inviting another problem. The moment another problem is invited, you are again in the soup. You are actually inviting next problem to the next problem. So there will be chain of sequences or incidences which will happen because of your one reaction, because you are negative. Because of that one action which was not correct, because of your attitude, you will keep on facing problem. So this is something very important to understand, that positive attitude doesn't only helps you to face the problem, but it ensures success for you, because you don't tend to commit more and more mistakes. Then it also, the moment you are able to handle the problem very effectively, you feel happy from inside. You feel that yes, you could face it with courage, you could minimize the adverse effect. So that feeling will come, and it will definitely affect your good or your health in a positive term. So there is a linkage of good health. Your mental health will be good, your physical health will be good. So because of the positive attitude, only one thing required is positive attitude. The hope that this problem will not last for long, the hope that I can handle this, the hope that there are good things. And the person with positive attitude will always count its blessings, right? So the moment you have some trouble in life, you will always look towards what good I have. You will actually bend for, or you will bet for your good things you have. You won't regret for this bad thing or this problem in your life at this moment. You will actually owe to God, owe to your parents, you will owe to your friends and family for whatever the happiness they have given to you. So because of the attitude. So this is the positive attitude. And had you been having negative attitude, what will happen? All the things will be vice versa. Everything will happen in an adverse manner. Your life will become difficult. You will handle actually all the problem in a very negative manner, which will lead to invite another problem. More failures, less success will be there. Your health will go down. Your personal and professional life, they both will be affected adversely. So it means your positive and negative attitude. So the whole story is about the attitude, whether you face success or you face failure. They all are coming from one source. How do you handle your attitude? How do you develop your beliefs and values? So after understanding these types of attitude, the next thing we would like to talk about functions of attitude. There are many contributions by various researchers who have contributed about attitude. Katz have talked about the various functions of attitude. So according to him, there are various functions, and the first important function is adjustment function. So attitude helps employees or otherwise in personal life to adjust to the environment and form the basis for future behavior. So basically attitude helps employees to adjust to the situation. You will be able to adjust if you have positive attitude. You will be able to adjust a different situation in your personal life, a different situation in your professional life as an employee, if you have a positive attitude. If you have negative attitude, you will identify or you will mark all the bad things in the environment around you, in your office, in your personal life. If you have positive attitude, you will compliment the good thing. So Basically, the first function of attitude is to adjust to the change, adjust to the change in the environment. Second is ego defensive function. Ego defensive function means people can retain their dignity, people can retain their self-respect if they know how to handle attitude. So basically, one can actually be defensive for his or her self-respect. The ego can be actually safeguarded and can be taken care, can be handled positively with the help of attitude. So this is the function of attitude to defense your ego. The third function of attitude is the value expressive function. So attitude provides a basis to the individuals to express their values. This gives a platform. So if your attitude is that you appreciate people who are hardworking, or you appreciate people who are loyal or sincere in their approach, then so if you have the value to admire those people, it gives you platform. So your value to admire people with honesty, your value to admire people who are sincere comes in force, because you will be expressing. Basically, as we said, this is how we feel, how we actually express our behavior to different situation. So your value expressive function is also been performed by your attitude. So different functions are performed by attitude, and this is the third function we talked. The fourth function is the knowledge function. You know, because of the attitude, we have standards and frames which can be used as reference. So knowledge function, if you have understanding about people, and if you have understanding that how a person perceives the world, so or how he understands the world, you will value his knowledge because of your attitude. Otherwise, you won't value. So if your attitude is to acknowledge, you will actually value the knowledge of the person. So the knowledge function is also performed by attitude, by acknowledging the knowledge one possesses, the other person possesses, to whom you have to react. Basically, other person is an object. As we said, how you respond to objects or situations or events. So this is a fourth function of attitude, which is known as knowledge function. Then after this, the next thing, after understanding various function of attitude, let's talk about the another most important thing: how can we actually change our attitude? We have talked about different types of attitude. We have taken examples of people who could be positive or negative. We have taken the concept as a definition. We have understood the nature of attitude so far, and now after identifying what kind of attitude we have towards different objects, let's talk about how can actually we change our attitude. So the steps which you can take, or the steps you can follow to change your attitude, they are here. First one is by providing new information. If I refer to attitude to the situation given in an organization where you are working, if I correlate the attitude to the workplace, let's do that. Let's correlate the attitude to the workplace. So in that case, the first important thing is that by providing accurate information, we can change the attitude of the person. If you remember the example I took, you joined first day, and one person who is not happy or who has just don't have good feeling about the person, he just talked about that he could not achieve his targets, but he did not give you the complete information. He did not share with you the complete data. He shared that he could not achieve his business targets, his sales target. But he did not talk about that there was tsunami in the city, there was earthquake, or there was no supply of raw material. Because of that, production was not happening. So he did not share the complete information. He simply said Mr. XYZ is not a successful person or does not achieve his target. Simply that was the information given to you, and you made your belief he is not a person to dependable, or he is not a very reliable person or task oriented person. You may have made any such belief, right, from that example. But what is happening? Since you are not been given the complete information, your belief has happened. Your attitude toward that person would be that he is not a efficient person or he is not a reliable person, whereas the fact of the matter is the information was missing. You have been given only partial data. You have been given what he could not achieve. You have not been given the data or the fact sheet about his efforts. That was missing. So, basically attitude can be changed if we go and find out the real data, the actual data, the complete data. So, incomplete data will lead to negative feelings, incomplete data will lead to your very unpleasant feeling about the person. So, that is first thing to deal with the attitude. So, always try to seek complete information, and in case you are dealing with in your office, even then it is applicable. In case you are dealing at your home with your family members, friends, even in that condition also this is applicable. So, the first thing is always try to seek or provide information so that you have your attitude built on fair information, or the other has his or her attitude built on fair information. The second way is to change the attitude is by use of fear. Even this has been observed in many organizations, that attitude is being changed by using the fear factor. You have been told about unpleasant circumstances or consequences. You have been given a message, if you don't change your belief or your value about this or that thing, you are going to face this consequence. So, here what will play a role? The fear factor, the fear will play a role. You know, if you can correlate with your personal family, personal life, there are many students, there would be many people around who are listening to me, they can recall their childhood experience. They may have changed their belief of stealing, for example, or just taking out the eatables from the friend in the classroom. You may have taken a friend's tiffin, you may have taken some sandwich, some burger from the tiffin of your friend in school, and at home your mother or your father has actually warned you not to do this, else you will be scolded. So, what? And in the next day, very next day, you stop doing that. What was that? Was not that fear? Your father threatened you to slap you. Your mother threatened you to slap you or not to give your pocket money if you will keep on having food from your friend's tiffin and not to finish your own tiffin. What does it mean? It is a very simple example. It has happened to most of us in our childhood. For one or the other reason, our parents would have actually shown us to some extent fear. In a few people could be may have faced it little more, the severity would be higher, others people may not have faced it at all, and few people have faced it at a very lower level of severity. So, the point is the fear factor, the use of fear can also change your attitude. You may observe if you are working or even your classroom, at your classroom if you are a student, you may observe sometime your attitude towards girls would be just to make comments, right, like that, just for the sake of fun. You may have observed you doing that thing or your friends doing that thing. So, you may have observed in the college life boys making comments about girls, or even girls can make comments about boys. So, if that is happening and suddenly principal observes that, it comes into the knowledge of principal or your class teacher, right, and you have been told, you have been warned not to do that. What is that? That is use of fear to change your attitude towards the girls, towards the boys, or towards anything. So, basically point is use of fear can be there to change the attitude of a person towards the beliefs and the values person carries. Person may carry a belief there is nothing wrong commenting on girls. Person may be carrying a belief there is nothing wrong taking money out of father's pocket without telling him. There is nothing wrong checking messages from the cell phone of mother or father or girlfriend or boyfriend or wife or husband. That is just a belief. You may believe he is just my wife, he is or she is just my wife or he is just my husband. So, that belief is there, but that belief is correct or not, that is something different. We are not talking about that. We are talking about the attitude. So, that attitude is just to check it without thinking that it may not be sounding pleasant, the person may not be comfortable with that. So, if you have been scolded, if you have been threatened for the consequences which would be adverse to you, you may think, you may review your attitude, right. The third thing is, the third effort can be, or the third action can be by resolving discrepancies. Sometimes it happens that we just develop a particular kind of attitude towards a person, right. And since we have certain discrepancies in the past, we develop the attitude. We may not be fair in our assessment, but we have just developed it. So, the point is, if we have developed that attitude, we have to have a look at that, and by resolving the discrepancies, we can actually change our attitude. Discrepancies could be handled by pointing out the positive points in favor of the chosen course of action. Person might dissolve his or her dilemma. There was simply a dilemma in the mind. Person wasn't sure is this correct or incorrect, right? You may have seen a small child having a dilemma in his or her mind about a particular course of action. The moment that dilemma is being dissolved, is being addressed, you may see the person's attitude changes. The attitude was not good or was negative because of the dilemma in the mind of the person. The moment that has been addressed, your attitude changes. So, that is another important way of handling or managing attitude. Then the next effort we can actually do is influence of friends and peers. This is very effective way of handling attitude, and it is most effective in case of people who are in teens, in the age of teens, or who are just college going students, or in the young age. So, peers and friends are actually very influencing in changing the attitude of a person. Their recommendations, their opinions can actually prove to be very important to you. If you just recall it, just try to correlate with my talk, that is this ever happened to you? Did you ever change your opinion about something, your recommendation about something? It could be positive, it could be negative, but did you ever change that simply because your friend, your peers have different opinion about that? So, that actually happens. So, peers and friends especially becomes influencing in affecting the attitude, in changing the attitude in adulthood, in teenage. I am not saying that it does not happen in old age, it does not happen in late years. It definitely happens depending upon how much faith you may have in your friend. But in peers, but in adulthood, in teenage, it happens more effectively, more frequently. So, we can actually use peers and friends pressure to change the attitude of somebody. Even parents, if you may have observed, your parents would be asking your friends beta usko समझा देना. Did you ever observe that? बेटा उसको बताना ये गलत कर रहा है, बेटा उसको बताना रात को लेट नहीं आते हैं. What is that? Your mother or your father, they are actually choosing this way. A very small example, but a very real example. Your teachers, you may have observed, they may be telling your friends, not to you. One teacher, for example, observed that you have copied the assignment. So, Instead of talking to you, whatever the reason it may be, teacher decided not to talk to you, to give you one more chance to influence you through your peer. So they may simply talk to your friend in the classroom, in the class. They may point out your friend to convey this message to you, because teacher may have a belief that the peer pressure will work. Instead of telling you this is wrong, if it comes from your friend that you have copied the assignment, you may change your attitude towards attempting assignments, isn't it? So if they are very good two examples, small example. Your parents telling your friends to ask you not to do something or to do something, both way. So this is another way of influencing or changing the attitude when we bring in friends and peers. And believe me, it does not happen only in personal life or at college. It also happen in business, at your workplace. You know, you may have seen or observed that even bosses, even your senior, they use this technique sometime. They, instead of talking to you directly, they will try to influence you through your friends, through your colleagues, or your friends at your workplace. So this technique is simple but very effective, because we tend to listen to our friends more than our parents. We tend to listen to our friends more than our teachers most of the times. Then another way of changing the attitude is co-opting. This is very effective, and especially at workplace. Co-opting means, if you want to change the attitude of somebody who belongs to a different group, simply you can invite him or her in your group, or you can be the part of their group. So become the member of their group if you want to change the attitude, right? You observed that there's a group of people who always copy, right, assignments, and you are the one who strongly believe not to do that, and now agenda in front of you, you just want that they should actually be learning, they should not be doing the copying. So what do? One is just to condemn it. That is one course of action. Another is course of action, you are very positive, you want to see the improvement around, you want to see people developing. So what do? You simply go and become friendly with them. In the beginning, you may not comment at the first instance, but gradually you will make them feel that it is important for them to do their work on their own, so that they actually learn something during the course of studies. They actually get some knowledge. So if you have been able to do that, what are you doing actually? You are co-opting. You are becoming their group member and trying to influence their thinking, trying to influence their belief about copying. They take it casually, they don't mind copying, they don't take the copying as something unethical. So you are trying to influence their thinking by becoming the part of their group, right? So I hope this is clear to you. Now, if you decided to change attitude, we talked about how to change. It could be with the help of friends, it could be with the help of fear, it could be simply by getting fair information, complete information, right? So somehow, let's take, somehow you decided to change the attitude. Now what's next? Let's identify what barriers would come to change the attitude. So right now I am going to talk barriers to change attitude. So there are two important barriers. One is prior commitment and second is insufficient information. Prior commitment is when people feel a commitment towards a particular course of action that have already been agreed upon, and thus it becomes difficult for them to change or accept the new ways of functioning. So here what is happening? You have committed your thinking, you have committed your mind to a particular way of working or responding. So you have consented upon something. So you know you are finding difficult. You know, you keep on talking throughout the life that I don't believe in marrying. Let's take it this way. You just keep on saying, I don't believe in marrying. Marrying is just a fuss. So you always kept on denying throughout your life, and suddenly you find somebody is there in your life. You are in love with the person and you want to marry him or her. So what is happening? Your previous commitment was in the society, to your parents, your message was that you don't believe in. Now you are finding difficulty to accept that one person needs love, one person needs partner in life. So this is a barrier. You have some kind of commitment. Or another example, let's take another example. You were friends with one group of people who always keep on believing that it's fine bunking classes, or it's fine say copying assignment, or they kept on believing it's fine to tease girls, or it's fine to comment during the class hours. So this was a particular group. You were a member of that group. You were committed to that group, isn't it? By being their friends means you were committed to them. So being committed to them means what? Now if the moment you are realizing that that was wrong, you will find difficulty, because since long you have been actually supporting the doctrine of all these wrong things, and now you are finding hard. So this will be the most important barrier, and you need to identify this thing, because your past experience, your past responses, your past commitments will stop you to change. So if you want to change your attitude, kindly first of all identify the barrier, kindly accept the barrier. It's not only identify, kindly accept the barrier that you are not being able to change your attitude because you are committed to a particular group. You are committed to a particular action you have been doing in the past. So this is first thing to identify. The second thing is insufficient information. This is another barrier which will not allow you to change your attitude. As we took one example of one employee who narrated you the person is not effective, person is not able to achieve his targets. So what was there in that case? Even the information was not complete. You have been given incomplete information, and that could be true for other things as well. You may have incomplete information, insufficient information for various aspects. Let's take few examples. You simply started disliking your one of the relatives. Why? Because someone in your family talked about few things which are negative about him, which are not good about him. So you have just only those information or that information which is negative, which is not good. But you may not have other information that the person may have very good qualities, person may have very strong values about other things, or person would be ethical, and that is why he did it to you or to your father or to your parent or to family. Person may have done some particular thing or may have responded in a particular manner to you or to your family simply because person was ethical, whereas it has been informed to you, it has been fed to you as being not caring or not so responsive or not very positive attitude towards you or not loving attitude towards you. The fact of the matter was person he himself was ethical and he refused to cooperate with you, or he refused to respond to unwarranted demand of your family members of yours. Simply because of that you developed an attitude that person is not a good person. So that was happening because of incomplete information. So the second barrier which comes in to change the attitude is when we have incomplete information. We need to have sufficient data, we need to have sufficient information to act positively, to change our attitude. So sometimes people simply see any reason to change their attitude due to unavailability of adequate information. If we don't have adequate information, we will not change. One person is telling you no, XYZ is very good or very honest, but the situation in front of you is something reverse to it. So you deny to accept this because you have just one person not saying it with so much of authority or with so much of confidence. So we need to identify this barrier. So after identifying these barriers, so let's talk about how can we actually safeguard ourselves. As I said, problems will always be there. You will always be surrounded about people of mixed attitude. People would be of good attitude as well as of bad attitude, negative attitude. People would be there who are always smiling, and people would be there who are just always worrying and showing bad faces to you. So you have all kind of people, all kind of experiences in front of you. But the point is, how can you actually safeguard yourself? So the first thing is, don't allow others' behavior to influence you. We have complainers around us, we have snippers around us, we have bulldozers around us. So kindly don't allow yourself to influence because of them. That is the first safeguard. The second safeguard is avoid working in a negative work environment. The observation is this, the study is this, that people who are working in an environment.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. We have a caller from Maharashtra.
Please.
Yeah, good afternoon. Please ask your question.
हेलो सर.
जी सवाल पूछिए.
हेलो सर, ये अपनी एक्टिविटी को चेंज करने के लिए, अपने पर्सनैलिटी को चेंज करने के लिए, अच्छा पर्सनैलिटी बनाने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा?
ओके, थैंक यू फॉर योर क्वेश्चन. अच्छा पर्सनालिटी बनाने के लिए सबसे पहले फर्स्ट स्टेप है, आप एक्सेप्ट करिए अपनी कमियां जो हैं. सो आइडेंटिफाई करके उनको लिखिए कि आपके अंदर ये नेगेटिव एटीट्यूड के सिम्टम्स हैं. राइट. सेकंड थिंग, फर्स्ट स्टेप के बाद सेकंड स्टेप लीजिए. हिंदी इज फाइन. सेकंड स्टेप करिए, आप अपने आसपास ऐसे लोगों को ऑब्जर्व करिए, उनका नाम जानिए, उनका नाम लिखिए, एक लिस्ट बनाइए जो बहुत पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड रखते हैं, जो प्रॉब्लम आने पर भी बहुत खुशी फेस करते हैं, जो उम्मीद रखते हैं कि कल को ये प्रॉब्लम ख़त्म हो जाएगी एंड गुड डेज वुड बी देयर. सो दिस इज द सेकंड स्टेप. एंड थर्ड स्टेप आफ्टर दैट, आप इंट्रोस्पेक्शन करिए. इंट्रोस्पेक्शन मीन्स अपने विचारों को बहुत अच्छे से समझिए. क्या विचार है जिसके कारण से आपके मन में नेगेटिविटी है. अब अगर आप मेरे को सुन रहे थे तो मैं बोल रही थी कि हमारे पास इनसफिशिएंट इन्फॉर्मेशन हो, इनकम्प्लीट इन्फॉर्मेशन हो, तो हम एक नेगेटिव एटीट्यूड बना लेते हैं. मैंने एक एग्जांपल दिया था कि आपको आधी इन्फॉर्मेशन दी गई किसी आदमी के बारे में और आपने सोचना शुरू कर दिया वो आदमी इफेक्टिव नहीं है, एफिशिएंट नहीं है. राइट. तो इस थर्ड थिंग है, आप अपने विचारों को जानिए, बहुत क्लियरली लिखिए कि किस चीज़ से आपके मन में नेगेटिविटी, आपकी बिहेवियर में नेगेटिविटी आती है. उसके बाद आप टू ऑनेस्टली असेसमेंट करिए कि जो मेरे विचार हैं वो फेयर हैं या नहीं है. सो आप असेसमेंट, नेक्स्ट स्टेप है आफ्टर अपने विचारों को जानने के बाद अपना सेल्फ का, विचारों का असेसमेंट करना, वैल्यू करना. उसको वैल्यू करना मतलब कितना ठीक हूँ मैं, कितना गलत हूँ, इसको जानिए. फिर उसके बाद छोटी छोटी चीज़ें करिए. अभी मेरे साथ बने रहिए, मैं आपको पूरी टिप्स देने वाली हूँ नेक्स्ट 5 मिनट के अंदर. मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूँगी कि ध्यान से सुनिए. मैं आपको एकदम 1 by 1 टिप्स देने वाली हूँ कि आप अपना एटीट्यूड कैसे कर सकते हैं ठीक. सो आई होप मैंने आपका आंसर दिया है. आपको कुछ और पूछना है? ओके. सो आप प्लीज बी विद अस. The next point I'm making is that we have to avoid the negative work environment. If you are working somewhere where there's an insecurity, where there's no appreciation for your work, there's so much work but no appreciation, the deadlines are not realistic, right? Your budgets are not attainable, not achievable, and directions are very poor, multiple directions are coming, there's no clarity of direction. Try to avoid working in such situation, because gradually it will lead to build up a negative environment. So we are talking about how to safeguard yourself from becoming a negative attitude person. The third thing you can do is you can actually be very careful when you are listening to media, right? The mass media plays a very important role, especially for youngsters, to make their attitude towards things, towards objects. So be careful, use always caution, use your own wisdom to assess the information shared to you by media, by mass media. So negative word is always around, there are negative views around, but don't allow them to influence you by using your own judgment. Then another thing is changing the environment. Changing the environment means the people, if as I was just talking about, if you have people around you who are always negative, who believe in that doing wrong thing is nothing wrong, doing unethical things is not wrong, so try to observe the environment, stay away from that environment. You will automatically be becoming a person with good attitude. And the last thing is, there's a theory, we call it a determinism theory. There are 3 points, there are 3 aspects in that theory. One is genetics, another is psyche, and the last one is environment. As per this theory, the genetics comes from your childhood. Your grandparents did to you. This is what has been done my grandparents to me. So that is there, that thinking is there. My father was like a smuggler. He was in, for example, and he was in jail, and that's what he did. My dignity in the society is so bad simply because my grandfather did it. So he has given the image that our family is of smugglers, our family is of criminals. So that comes from a kind of background, genetics. So try to observe that. You are an independent individual. Don't allow that to affect you. Second thing is, which comes from immediate parents, psyche. Your parents were scolding you, were telling you nothing is wrong in doing that. You saw your father lying to his clients all the day. So you started believing nothing is wrong in lying.
Sorry, ma'am.
So,
We have another question.
okay.
Yeah, good afternoon. Please ask your question.
हेलो
जी जी
हेलो हाँ
सर
सर
जी
हेलो मैं इंसान के अंदर नेगेटिव थिंकिंग क्यों आती है किसी चीज को लेके
आप अपना क्वेश्चन दोबारा बोलेंगे प्लीज?
हेलो हाँ मैम जैसे अगर हम किसी सर और टीचर से मतलब बात करना हो तो मन में डर क्यों लगता है और वह जो डर है वह दूर कैसे हो सकता है?
आपकी आवाज़ साफ नहीं आ रही है.
जैसे कि अपनी किसी बात को किसी सर या टीचर के सामने रखना है तो डर क्यों लगता है और वह जो डर है वो दूर कैसे हो सकता है?
वो किसी चीज़ों को बात नेगेटिव एटीट्यूड कैसे आता है लोगों में, कैसे
नेगेटिव एटीट्यूड आपके वैल्यूज एंड बिलीफ से आता है. अगर आप बिलीव करते हैं कि झूठ बोलना गलत नहीं है तो आप नेगेटिव एटीट्यूड रखेंगे. आप आराम से इस चीज़ को एक्सेप्ट कर जाएंगे. सो एटीट्यूड बेसिकली फॉर्मेशन आपकी वैल्यूज़ एंड बिलीफ से आता है और वैल्यूज़ एंड बिलीफ आपके एनवायरनमेंट से आती हैं. आपके पेरेंट्स से साथ कैसा इंटरेक्शन रहा उससे आता है, आपके पीयर्स के साथ कैसा इंटरेक्शन रहा उससे आता है, आपके सोसाइटी में इंटरेक्शन कैसा रहा उससे आता है. सो बेसिकली आपका एटीट्यूड बनता है आपकी वैल्यूज़ एंड आपके बिलीफ से, जो बनते हैं आपके एनवायरनमेंट से, आपके घर के एनवायरनमेंट से, आपके बाहर के एनवायरनमेंट से, आपके फाइनेंशियल स्टेटस के साथ, आपके पीयर प्रेशर के साथ, इन चीज़ों से.
Okay, now we have 1 minute, so kindly sum up the lecture today.
Yeah. So the last thing I would like, because since we have just 1 minute, we should simply remember that we should actually this is the answer to the question. The person we were though not able to get the question very clearly. If you should question yourself: are some people just born positive thinkers, or is it their choice? If they are positive thinkers, are they simply because by choice, or they born with this? Nobody is ever born with positive attitude or thinking. This is their choice. So simply first thing need to be accepted is this: attitude is a matter of choice. Then after that, remember that changes, they happen personally from inside. Changes never will happen outside. I can't influence you unless you accept this. I can influence you only and only if you accept from the inside, yes, there is something negativity in your attitude. Then accept the responsibility that this is me who is responsible for my action. No one else is responsible for you, for your action. And last thing, take a control on your values, take a control on your missions. Don't mission for something which is wrong. Mission for those things, for those goals which are ethical, so that's how your attitude will be building. The last statement I would like to say, that there's a little difference in people, but that little difference makes a big difference. The little difference is of attitude only, and the big difference is whether it is positive or attitude. These are the words by W. Clement Stone, and I am leaving you with this thought that it is possible to change your attitude if you simply work on the facts which we just shared. Thank
Okay.
you.
So, well, friends, it's good thought to think over it. And with this word, we conclude the lecture. I thank all of you for watching the lecture.
Yeah.
And on your behalf, I thank Dr. Amarjeet Malhotra for giving such an insightful lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, listeners.